I want to know though, do y'all think that a man raised in a single mother household, do you think it affects how he treats women that he's with in the future? We'll start with you on this one. A guy raised in a single mother household, do you think it's going to affect the women that he talks to in the future?
I want to say that he might respect women a little bit more, but due to the lack of him, like his father not being in his life, I would assume that like that would also kind of like affect certain maybe
Masculinity,
yeah
kind of.
like maybe when it comes to like dating, but like just like viewing women, I think he would definitely respect her more dating wise.
He might get walked over a little
Yeah.
bit. What about you? What do you think about that guy raised by a single mother?
I agree with what she said, but I would also say, depending on how the mother is, like if his mom is like an ain't shit up, excuse me, if she
It's fine. You're
was
fine.
like a not good mother, then he might grow up to resent females.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No, no, yeah, it just depends how good she
So
is.
yeah,
Yeah, your environment's your destiny. What about you? Do you think that a guy raised by a single mother, you think it's gonna affect him?
Going off what she said, I really don't think. I really just think it depends on how the parent raised them. You know, like I have brothers. They only grew up with my mom in their life, and they came out great. They respect women. But I do feel like the lack of a man being around does, have certain. It makes them lack certain qualities that men should have. But overall, I don't think it makes a big difference.
How many brothers do you have?
I have two older
Two
brothers.
older brothers?
Mhm.
Okay. How much older are they from you?
My oldest brother is 18 years older than me. He's just turned 40 today, and the other one is 32.
Are they both married?
The oldest one was married. He's divorced now, but they're both in relationships.
Okay. Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I'm just curious. I love to know where people come from. What about you? So the guy that's raised, by a single mother, do you think that's gonna affect his relationships with women in the future?
Yes, sorry. So kind of going off what she said again, I think it depends on who your mother was as a person and how she raised you ultimately, or if you're just raised by your dad, then you probably didn't get as much nourishment, like physical nourishment, because your mother wasn't there, because the mother is typically the nourishing one
Mm-hmm.
to the baby. And a father is typically a little bit more harsher, but it just depends.
Disciplinary.
If a mother has to do both roles, then it really can go either way.
Mm-hmm.
I have some friends that are single mothers and some friends that are married with kids, and you know, your kids can still turn out not being the best people even with a two-parent household.
Yeah, it can go both ways. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it just kind of depends, but it definitely has an effect of some sort for sure.
Statistics speak so badly against single mother households. Actually, if we really look at the stats, a single father household, the kids come out to as far as like prison rates, or incarceration rates. I'm trying to think some of the other things that they
Sex
usually
work.
sex work. There's like certain things that they always categorize it based off, and like a single father household is the exact same as just a two parent household, whereas like a single mother household is statistically shows way worse usually. I gotta ask, have any of y'all dated a guy that was raised in a single mother household and it really made a fucking difference in the relationship? We'll start with you.
Personally, I haven't.
Okay.
I've only been in two relationships, and both of them had both parents. One of them had both. The other one had a stepdad and his real mom, but not.
That's actually really good. That means that like you didn't like he probably wasn't damaged, so he didn't come and like fuck you up with his bullshit of his life. Oh, maybe he was still fucked up.
Yeah.
What about you?
actually, I actually deal with someone who he had both parents, but then like later on when he got to high school, they separated. So he was with his dad a lot, but we actually touched on a topic one night, and he was saying how his mother didn't really just give him affection. Like she wasn't a hugger or anything like that to
That's
this
so
day.
weird.
He's like 33 years old. So I was like, okay, that makes a lot of sense
I
now.
bet that would mess somebody up pretty bad.
Yeah, so
A
I was
mom
just
not
like,
being
that's
affectionate.
just okay. Now I see. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So
What about you? Have you been with a guy that was like that you think had trouble from a single mother household?
I really honestly haven't dated a lot of guys. I've only dated one, but he grew up with both his parents in his life.
Did you? How old were you again?
Like when we dated.
No, no. Just how old are you right now?
Oh, 22.
22. Yeah. So
Mhm.
only been one relationship. Only been to like the younger girls haven't really been in a lot of relationships. That's why I was trying to determine. What about you? Have you been with a guy that's had like that issue from a single mother household?
Yes. So if I remember correctly, this was whenever I was younger, a lot younger. Let's see, his mother and dad, his mom and dad got divorced, and then a few years later, he was primarily with his mom, but a few years later, she got remarried. But he has a lot of issues to this day. You can read all about him in my book called The Truth, Little Shakespeare Tragedies. He was my first abuser. He was a terrible, terrible person. So, but I've also known guys that were in a single parent household, and they are not that person at all. They have a really high respect for women. That's why I say I think it really depends.
Yeah, you really like to go back to this is something that's really common on this show. Like, we got to look at both sides. It's called blank slating.
Yeah.
Where, like, we have to constantly look at both sides. You know, in conversations or like when we look at statistics stuff, sometimes you got to accept that for a majority of the time it is sometimes a certain way. Or like we've lined up 100 people, you know, 90 of them would do certain things, you know.
Absolutely.
Like we can always look at the exception of the rules, but just to like so you understand the show a lot, I'll talk a lot about evolutionary biology, and a lot of evolutionary biology that we talk about is, you know, we don't really like talking about the exception of the rule. We like talking about the majority, especially because it's a podcast, so we have to talk to the majority, give advice for the majority of people in the world. It's not always good to sit there and pigeonhole and talk about the exceptions, because that's the exception of the rule, you know. But no, thank you. Also, guys, I gotta let y'all know, the Matrix is really fucking attacking me this time. Like, not even kidding, guys. The YouTube is fucking, the algorithm is trying to kick me out really hard right now. So if y'all want this channel to grow, or if we want to get a bunch of people in here, y'all got to share this to everybody you fucking know right now. And we got to start making this a big deal, because if we don't make this a big deal, then I'm not going to be able to do this show that much longer. I'm going to have to go and travel and go do shows all over the place, and we're not going to be able to do this one because they're fucking killing our channel right now. So please, everybody share this shit around. We got to like push back, because I always tell y'all this. I tell y'all the real fucking red pill. They don't tell y'all this shit on the other channels, the shit that I tell y'all about relationships, because if they did, they would lose all their fucking money, guys. All of it. YouTube makes so much money off of splitting y'all up and making the men hate the women and the women hate the men, that if I fucking blew up, I would fuck up all their fucking money. So go and share this fucking shit as much as you can, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to fuck YouTube in the ass, which I really want to do. So yeah, fuck you, YouTube. Just FYI.
Fatality.
Yeah, I know y'all told me not to fucking cuss anymore, but fuck you. Like, it really bothers me. I'll go to Facebook. But no, now I want to go into another part, like a second part of that same question. Does a woman raised by a single mother household affect how she treats men that she's with, you think?
Yes, I think it does. Oof.
Do you have any friends like that?
No, but I'm trying to put it in perspective of my life, and this is gonna sound so bad because I'm like, I don't want to talk shit about my mom, but now that I'm like living with my mom by myself, not by myself, but like I was used to living with both my parents, and now that I primarily live with my mom, I've gotten to see, you know, how she is just a little bit deeper, and I'm still young, so like I'm very much like evaluating everything that she does to kind of like learn from it. And I will say, like, her toxic habits that she has definitely tried to like influence me on certain
Seep
things.
into you?
Yes, I'm trying to like avoid it and see past it, but it has become very hard. And I've noticed that from her experience with like my dad and like her past, the things that she's told me and the way that she's kind of told me them definitely affected me at one point in my life. And I will admit that, like, even though it's still primarily my fault at the end of the day for like choosing those people that I was dating, I still feel like a part of it had a lot to do with the way that my mom kind of also taught me those things, you know what I mean? Or she just necessarily didn't teach me, but like they definitely rubbed off for me being with her all the time. So I definitely think it does.
Yeah, you can try to escape like what you're raised in and stuff, but your environment's your destiny. Like if you experience something all the fucking time, that shit
especially if like
bleeds into
you know,
you.
if you're living with, let's say you have a mom that's constantly having dudes in and out, like I would say that like in the long run you would probably be doing the same, or unless you obviously would see past it.
Well, like it's what's normal to you. Like I always talk about on this show, like I have two really, like my parents divorced when I was like 5 or 6, but after the divorce they kind of both remarried really fast, and they were very both solid, strong, like wealthy, like just financially, just everything really fucking perfect. As far as like by the book perfect families, both of them did everything perfectly. And it's just like whenever I talk to other people that were raised in different things, it's like, well, I can't even fucking relate, because like I saw it perfectly like this. So I'm shooting for this perfection that I saw my whole life. And what all these other people are doing, it's like I'm so fucking confused. I don't understand all this shit, like all this sleeping around stuff. I've never seen it. It's just weird to me.